stuck forever in the abyss, never to be taken back or lost, hopefully.
Wow.
Good times, yeah.
All right, welcome everyone.
Hello. Hello.
You might be unsure which show you picked.
Who's talking right now? What is this?
These two mellifluous voices.
Oh, good word.
Oh, thank you.
What is this? A crossover episode? Hey, it's a Duality Bites. Hey, it's me, your guest, Isaac Allen Burns, here with Asteria to bite some duality. Hey!
Dearest listeners, I, Asteria, have procured the time and attention of your GM, Isaac Allen Burns, from DODOBORN, probably your favorite, if not podcast generally, certainly your favorite Daggerheart podcast. You can, of course, find them at www.dodoborn.com. That's Dodoborn with an E on the end, like the Daggerheart mechanic. DODOBORNE.com. Isaac, I realize I forgot to ask which pronouns you do prefer.
He, him is fine.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no problem.
And I am she or they. Either is fine.
Very nice.
Yes, but he's come on so we can talk about this weird thing we do. How are you today?
Why do we do this? Why do we submit ourselves to such hard work?
Oh, wow. That's going to be the whole episode. Oh, wow. Why?
Yeah, let's start there. So when did we decide, no, that's too deep. That's too deep to start off with. We got to start light. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. I like you saying that you have the attention of me makes me feel like the eye of Sauron just passing over. I would not say that my gaze is that powerful or desirable, but that's very nice of you. That's very nice.
You're welcome. Yes, that's the thing is the words that come out of my mouth become the podcast. So
I get that.
They have power, don't they?
They truly do.
Yeah.
And then, you have to go listen to them multiple times and just shake your head at what was I thinking?
Yeah. So much of this first season of Queen of Daggers, Heart of Fire, which is, I believe the finale is going to air tomorrow, which is crazy.
Ooh,
so much
exciting.
of it is me going, wow, in that first episode, I said 300 years a couple of times. I said that a couple of things were from 300 years ago, so I guess something really important must have happened 300 years ago. I better figure out what that was.
Isn't it awesome when you get to listen back and realize the words that you just say all the time without realizing, and you hear your vocal stutters and filler words, and pauses. I am haunted forever.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The amount of things that people see in my games is just stunning, since apparently before everything I see. And you look over and see, oh my God. But it's something for us to work on, right? It's a way that we can develop ourselves even further.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm trying to remember what mine is, other than pauses. I get very distracted by my own pauses. I'm trying to remember what verbal tick I have that has struck me, or there's a repeated phrase that I'm sure will come to me later.
For sure, we'll hear it in this episode. And people will be able to comment. Honestly, pauses are smart though.
I say, if I may. I say, if I may, a lot.
If I may. Oh, that's so considerate though. I love that.
It's usually when I feel like the players are on the wrong track because I have said something overly complicated and confusing.
Yep.
And I'm like, if I may, he didn't say that he killed her.
Yeah.
Or whatever. He said that he just told you that she was dead.
Is there anything worse than hearing the players just get something completely wrong and having to be like, wait, no, I didn't say that.
Yeah, there was a thing that got cut from episode 3 where two of the characters were talking over something, and I was like, is Chapin making a character choice? Or did I... did I wildly miscommunicate what he was being offered?
Yeah. That is the math you have to do too as GM, because you're like, I gave them the information. This could be that like their character is just deciding to believe something incorrect.
Yeah.
Which that's why it's healthy to check in. You just be like, hey, just real fast, if I may.
Yeah.
The real this and this and this, and they could say, no, I understand. My character. I think it'd be funny if my character thinks that they killed them.
Yeah.
Or they're like, oh, what? I thought you said something different. Be clear next time, and then you get a note and you get a bad grade. So.
Yeah. And usually it's, oh, thank you for clarifying. And one time recently it was, I know I'm lying.
Yeah.
My character's lying to like get us out of the situation.
Yes. You
like,
want to honor
right,
those choices.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes.
As you were.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. As you were. I'll be back here behind my screen.
I'm very fooled.
You've got me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Obviously a good lie.
Obviously, it was a great job.
Yeah.
Good acting. No notes. Oh my goodness.
I'm actually a relatively new GM.
Really?
Yeah, I DM'd a 6-month D&D 5e campaign at the beginning of lockdown.
Nice.
Just for 2 people, for my spouse and J Ben, who plays Lemma. And I've been a player very much, and that short campaign, which was I don't know if 6 months is short actually. That campaign, which was that campaign, which was in Eberron, mine beloved, it made me very anxious. Like the DMing, the prep made me very anxious. When I say that, I also have to add, it was also the first year of lockdown. There were a lot of reasons to be anxious.
A lot of things happening at the time.
But I thought I didn't like DMing. And it was actually reading the Daggerheart rule book when it first dropped, the playtest rules, that made me think, oh, I really want to try this.
Ooh.
But what's your background in GMing?
Oh my goodness. Well, so back so long ago, circa 2016 at this point, I had some friends, big board gaming crew, kind of fresh out of college, and my best friend at the time, now partner, saw the D&D starter Phandalin set.
Yeah.
And she was like, let's do this. Oh, let's try it. And the issue is, first of all, none of us had ever done D&D or TTRPGs before. So somebody had to be the one to step up and be like, well, I'll learn the rules and figure out how this goes. And it sat on the shelf for a while. And then there was this show that we saw called Harmon Quest, which as much as I don't love Dan Harmon nowadays, at the time, it was like the first time I had seen D&D played out and it was animated. And I was like, that looks so much fun. We need to try it. So I finally buckled down and read through the book, and we did this Phandalin game for maybe, I think, about a year. We played through it every other Tuesday or so, and immediately fell in love. Immediately was like, this is so great. I could just do anything. This is awesome. Looking back with the eye I have now, obviously it wasn't a great campaign, but it was still, ran through it, got creative. And it just was, I'd never done anything like it.
Yeah.
And so I, from then on, just kind of ran D&D for like years. And then, funnily enough, during the pandemic, right before it, I got a group of people at my job to play with me. And we played for a few months in the lockdown and pandemic, so then we moved online. And I had nothing better to do, so I just fully leaned into it. Because it was also the first time I had players who were really vibing with the style, very narrative focused, very story based. So any possible GMing hobby you could have, painting minis, cutting up cardboard to make terrains, reading articles upon articles about how to GM, I was fully in deep. And the thing I tell people is I would go to a coffee shop on the weekends once things started opening up. And I would sit there for 8 hours with a mask, doing prep and planning and reading and doing things. Like, I was putting way too much time into it. I was putting a lot of time, but at the time I've been prepared to do. And so most of my experience for years had been D&D. And before Daggerheart was even announced, I had found myself chafing at the edges of it and wanting to try other things. But at the time, I was not, like, I was really into D&D, but I wasn't really into a lot of other TTRPGs. In fact, the only one I really knew of was Pathfinder. And the crunch of Pathfinder and the few times that I had played it, it was not really for me. And when Daggerheart got announced, I looked at the playtest, and not even kidding, I looked at the adversaries. And the adversary stat blocks was exactly what I had been doing to D&D monsters, so that I didn't have to look at all the numbers. Right, because I rarely cared what a giant hyena's intelligence stat was. I never looked at that. And so having one number for a lot of things and then moves was like, oh, I'm vibing with this. Yeah. And Daggerheart was really the first TTRPG I had ever GM'd with the intent to do a lot more of it, because I had done Call of Cthulhu and Delta Green, and I had done like Honey Heists. Nice. But the intent of those were like, we're doing this for Halloween, so we're doing 2 or 3, or we're doing a little one-shot just to try something different. But Daggerheart was the first one where I ever leaned into it and said, I'm going to learn the system, make campaigns for the system. And it's been nice because it's really opened me up to like, okay, let's look at other systems and let's just really branch out and see. But I've been GMing, I say I've been GMing for a long time, but I feel like I've been seriously GMing and doing this for pretty much like 5 or 6 years, I would say, in various states of games. So it's been a while. It's been a while. I hate thinking about how long it's been sometimes, because 2016 was 10 years ago. So that feels good. But yeah, that's really interesting that you're very recent for GMing, though. How long had you played beforehand?
Like just anything, or
anything, like any TTRPGs.
Oh, so back in the 90s, I tried to play some AD&D, and I did some a couple of attempted one-shots in some other systems. I forget what it's called. I recently looked it up and I've already forgotten. But it's some system based on feudal Japan.
Legend of Five Rings?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like I did the author Lev Rosen, for anyone who's familiar. He and I were childhood friends. And Lev A.C. Rosen, I think, is what he puts on the books. I forget. Sorry, Lev.
That's neat.
He was my fantasy buddy when we, like, all through high school, from like grade school to high school, and he had Legend of the Five Rings, and we tried that like twice, which was fun, and probably something else that I can't remember. And then at school, tried AD&D, but by then I was doing theater, like all the time, and other, like, I was extracurricular queen basically in high school. I was doing theater and the lit mag, and it was just really hard to schedule. I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned that. And then I didn't really get back into it until I was with my partner, who had played in college and probably high school. You know, my partner David. We call my players. We call him Spouse David, not to be confused with Skeist David, who plays Orlean in the show. We had tried to get some people together to play 4E, but the real thing was, like the origin story. Part 1 was that then we had our friends got married on Mackinac Island in Michigan, and 7 of us were driving in a van from Brooklyn to Mackinac because there's no good way to fly there. And
not to Mackinac,
David and I don't drive. And so David's offer of how to like contribute to, and we were driving in one day. And so his contribution was I could run a D&D game
in
the van, because that eats up time. Like, we're going to be in the van for more than 12 hours. I would run a game, and these are all theater friends, and I'll run a game, and like time will fly. And I was there kind of like stage managing the game, you know, as well, and like keeping track of everyone's sheets, and it was a blast. We played both directions, and then the crucial part is 2 of those friends moved into our building. We threw a Purim party. We started throwing parties where, as long as those 2 people and one other person comes, it's a party.
It's a party.
They brought their good friend Jay Ben, whom I had met before a couple times. We told him that story.
Yeah.
I drank most of the bottle of Slivovitz plum schnapps that he had brought, and remembered not too much of the night.
Nice.
I achieved the official mitzvah of confusing the names Haman and Mordecai, and he emailed us all the next morning, and like, hey, so that story you're telling about Dungeons and Dragons, do you want to play some Dungeons and Dragons? And so and that's how we got a multi-year 4E campaign going.
Wow, nice.
J-Ben was really the driver behind it,
nice,
not the van. And so we played 4E for years and went online during the pandemic, and it was a whole thing.
Nice. That's so, going from 4E to 5E, I will say something that really improved my GMing was, because I started in 5E, was looking at the 4th edition Dungeon Master's Guide and Monster Manual. Because they really, if you want to improve GMing in general, but also especially if you mostly focus on Dungeons and Dragons, read 4E. Because it goes into a lot more detail of how to GM and how to create encounters. So I would. That's interesting going from 4th edition to 5th edition too, because as far as I understand what 4th-E is like, yeah.
I mean, 5E is just so, without D&D Beyond, I don't know how I would have, like, it owes so much to, its success owes so much to tools like D&D Beyond. And if 4E had those tools, and my understanding is that they tried a little bit at the beginning of 4E. I wasn't on board, from the very beginning. And just kind of like the internet culture wasn't there yet. I know 4E gets a very bad rep that I don't think is remotely deserved. But, with 5E, it was just insanely easy to make a character sheet and learn as you go. But I think if you take away all that and just look at the systems, and I think this is why, like, if you look at the Daggerheart book, they credit 4E specifically as an influence. And I think that's really clear to me, especially because what I noticed going around our table playing 4E, as opposed to like in these larger games when I was learning with 5E, is 4E kind of like the modularity of the turns and all of that. It's so much easier for players to help each other learn, because even if they're playing different classes.
Yeah.
Whereas 5E, it's like, oh, you're a wizard and I'm a sorcerer. I have no idea how your spellcasting works. Like, I cannot help. Like, no fucking clue. Sorry.
Even trying to make characters in 5th edition at the table, like with just pad and pen and paper, was a difficult experience.
Yeah. I've never done it. I've only ever used D&D Beyond or the Character Mancer.
Yeah. It's a lot. If the more books that I read in other systems, the character creation layout is a lot easier, I will say.
Yeah.
Including Daggerheart's system as well. Segue. To Daggerheart.
Segue on 3.
About D&D too much. 1, 2, 3.
Segue.
So Daggerheart. So what got you started at Daggerheart? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Because we both started in the playtest of Daggerheart. Were you also 1.5, right? I
think I started with 1.2. Like, I think I ran Sablewood Messengers in 1.2. And that was like an exploratory. I was in a server, and I'd just been casting this other podcast, but right before our first actual recording session, the playtest became public. And the producer said, "Hey, no pressure, but what if you switch to Daggerheart?" And I'm a contrarian, and I was like, I'm gonna look through these rules and prove that I'm a warlock. I don't think they even have warlocks. Like, I don't know if our classes and races even exist in Daggerheart. I'm gonna go look and prove that I'm right and someone else is wrong.
But you were right at the time.
Yes, I was right, but I also read the rules and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Hey, what is this? Ooh.
Duality dice. And
Right.
I saw, rulings over rules, which at a time was a phrase I thought I had invented.
No originality under the sun. No
and I
new
was like,
things.
oh my God, they're speaking to me.
Right.
That's what I've been saying.
Honestly. So you had your own moment of like, oh, I vibe with this.
Yes, exactly. And so I came back, instead of coming back and saying, I was right and you were wrong, I came back and said, I think it would be too much to convert this campaign on this timeline, but I would run a campaign in this for you. And they helped a lot with the setup, but then Carmela and I wound up forming a company of our own.
Nice. That's so interesting too, going from only ever playing to reading the rules and like, oh, I want to run this.
I mean, I've always been kind of a person who, like, my theater background is directing and writing and producing.
Nice.
So
nice.
It was a natural feeling to feel like I should be running things. Like I should be at it. I was more familiar with that feeling than like being an actor at the table, even though a GM isn't very much an actor at the table.
Very much a performance.
Yeah, but to feel, it still feels more behind the scenes.
Yes.
Conductor.
Yeah.
And so that was like, oh, this is what I should be doing moment. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was in the wrong system, not the wrong role.
Yes. I think a lot of people would resonate with that too, because D&D is a very specific story that you tell, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people, they'll say, oh, well, death never happens and all this different stuff. And it's like, yes, but that's the story that it's telling,
yeah.
Right? And I feel like a lot of other systems, I feel like the themes can be similar, but the mechanics and the expectation of the story is much different.
Yeah.
Like Daggerheart, the expectation is very much, this is collaborative, this is narrative focused. Your resources are meta-narrative resources instead of arrows and weights and gold and spell slots. And D&D, you can play, like, I wouldn't even say that my style of GMing changed between D&D and Daggerheart, as much as Daggerheart really much more supports my play style than D&D. Because D&D is not expected. You walk in the room, what do you see? It's, you walk in the room, give me a perception check, or your passive perception is 25 somehow, so you see this. And it really resonates a lot more, I think, when that's the expectation.
And I've been kind of evangelizing for the system on various servers and on Blue Sky, and someone was asking me, someone genuinely quite curious was asking me about how this and that would go over for people who have only played, say, 5e or Pathfinder very tactically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would such and such open them up to the idea that games can be played differently? I was like, well, I don't know. I haven't really been focusing on trying to convert people to new ways of play. Mm-hmm. For me, this is supporting people who have already been trying to play this way in games like D&D and Pathfinder, because you can play multiple ways within most of these systems. And I think Daggerheart is a relief to a lot of people, because in most of my 5e campaigns, in my recent 5e campaigns, it's been people who kind of want to play this way.
Yeah.
But the collaboration, like and which I want to talk to you about how you
Yeah.
use it. The collaboration, the written in that it's collaboration, that was a big deal for me too, because even as I was getting into these high RP campaigns, I was butting up against what were to me weird like etiquette moments of like, no, that's for the DM. Like
Hmm.
you don't call that, like you don't ask for that role.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, and I don't generally, but like, can you roll with what I'm doing here? Like I'm making a moment.
Yes.
Like at this point, don't you trust me as a fellow storyteller that
Right.
I to like surprise you a little and to trust that I'm not like
Right.
what I'm clear. If I'm asking for a DC 14 strength check, it's probably because I'm trying to do the telekinetic shove on my sheet that I've used before. Like I'm not.
Right. Yes, and that is it's the almost the unwritten rule of D&D of like because I've never told someone no, you can't do that if they want to apply a detail into a scene. You know, if someone says, I look around and there's a table and there are papers on the table, can I like search for those papers, see if there's anything important? I would never say, well, I'm actually, I say that there's a table there and there's actually not papers. I would never say you can't do that. But it's also like the players don't necessarily know that they have that power, right?
Yeah.
Especially in D&D where it's like you're not technically, unless you roll a perception and I ask, what do you see? So there's a lot of communication that I feel like sometimes has to happen between
Yes.
DM to let them know where the lines are. Because one thing for me is that if someone says, just out of the blue says, I make a perception check and they roll it, I'll say, awesome, your character rolls a dice on the ground. And what'd you roll? Oh, an 18?
Yeah.
Cool. Your character rolled an 18. Because I'm like, tell me what you do. Tell me what your character is doing. Let's get away from, can I make this check? And more, tell me what your character does. Which Daggerheart, I think, is a little easier because they have experiences that they can move towards. But yeah, that kind of communication, that's the expectation sort of built into D&D is that you tell the GM what your character is going to do, but they're going to tell you everything else. Yeah. And even sometimes starting with Daggerheart, that's still kind of the default mindset sometimes.
Agreed. It's hard to break out of.
It is. And because when I'm playing, I'm always a GM, so I will always throw out details that the GM may or may not have said. And there are some GMs who will like get excited and go with it and like interplay. And then there are some who are like, okay, well, no, you don't. Well, it's actually this. And that's, again, totally fine because everyone plays differently. But even in Daggerheart, it was kind of tough at first to like really push that forward. And now I feel like as I've played with people pretty consistently, they know that they can say like, oh, I'm looking through my familiar's eyes and I look at the table and this guy is losing at cards. And they could just say that. And it's like, yes, because that's true. Yes, and we can continue. But yeah, it is tough sometimes to sort of communicate that ability to them.
Yeah. And we found, especially like we did, so my players, I knew each of them quite well. Like I picked them all very specifically, I mean, as you do, but you know, I had some, for various reasons, because of my own nervousness and because I didn't know if our subject matter, how vulnerable it would get. It's like, these need to be people that I know, not just that I can trust, like people I can trust and recommend and vouch for, but also that I can trust myself to be, to not be uptight with, you know?
Yes.
But none of them knew each other at all before session 0. We had 2 session 0s before our first one. And one of the best things in the world was watching them all fall in love with each other and being like, oh, Asteria knows good people. This is going to be great.
Yes.
But we did 2 session 0s and did a bunch of like collaborative narration exercises that were very scary and very fun. And some things like that, and I try to come up with more of those and to make us warm up. It's always like I don't know if you guys have this experience at all. It's hard to start a session like every time.
Yeah.
We get there, we want to talk, first of all, because we like each other very much. And then also I'm just always very nervous to start a session. I get the stage fright.
Very real.
But in the first episode, and David is one of the four who had never played a TTRPG before ever, and is a brilliant theater actor. And I've known him since I was maybe 13. We went to the same middle and high school.
Nice.
And he is super into the. I think he had the fewest boundaries. Not boundaries, borders.
Borders, yeah.
And in the first episode, like, it starts with the four characters. We meet them in pairs, and an NPC asks his character about one of the characters we haven't met yet. Like, oh, how's Lemma doing? I know you're friends with him, and he talks about it, and he like gives Lemma an attribute. He's like, oh, and how he's always like talking to himself a little bit, and everyone goes, he's like, I'm allowed to do that, right? Yeah, it's like, yeah. But like, even I was a little like, yeah, you are allowed to do that. Like, wait, yeah. But it's still all, it's something I'm always like, we should do more of. But then there will be times where it's something I'm learning how to weave in, because there are definitely times where if I put them too much on the spotlight and they blank, then it grinds things to a halt and everyone feels awful.
Yes.
So I'm working on ways, like, because in our first episode, I had enormous success with saying to Katie and J-Ben, Lemma and Evelyn, you and the librarian are looking through this art book. Lemma, describe a piece of art you see. And I had them each describe a piece of art. And as listeners know, they did such an amazing job that basically the season became based around what they described. Yes. I had no plans for that. Yes. And they gave me such specific, eerie, memorable artworks that it completely influenced the entire season. And Carmela was blown away that I brought back the imagery in the end of that episode when she was going back editing, because I was like scribbling notes. And it's like, that's amazing. Like,
isn't that exhilarating?
Yeah, it's like experiment conclusive. But then also there was another time where I was like, so and so, describe, you see this, describe it. And it was like, I'm so sorry. I just can't, like, I don't. And that person froze. And I was like, oh, right. Like, it's hard. Creativity is hard.
Sometimes. It is.
They didn't prep for that. But the big thing I wanted to say was how great Dodoborn is for learning the game.
Yes.
Like, you are such a good teacher. Like, I listen to your podcast and it's like, oh, right. Yeah. That's.
Yes. And that was the goal, admittedly, because in my mind, if the world were potentially a different place and I had taken a few different steps in life, I would have wanted to be a teacher, because I do enjoy explaining things. I love, like, I don't know, there's something fun about it. I perhaps do it too much sometimes, but and so figuring out how to say things in a concise way that makes sense for people. And for me, like, whenever I want to try a new system, I look up like actual play.
Yeah.
And especially because the main reason I feel like I wanted to GM D&D in the first place was all of the actual plays that I would listen to. Like, I was Adventure Zone, Unexpectables, Rude Tales of Magic, like a lot of like older ones that I would listen to, and you just pick up on how to play, you pick up what works and like what you enjoy. And I was like, I really want to make something that like someone can listen to and be like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on. Like, just like teach people. And so I grieve, because now at the end of season 2, I'm like, well, what else how much more can I, hey, it's me, Isaac Allen Burns, these rules, like I need to really dig deep, put them underwater, or like make them fall from a great height, or just like throw some new ones, just like at the beginning, like like reading the third installment of a series and they kind of introduce things that happened in the previous book. Maybe just start off the first episode. Hey, it's me. So in this game, you roll 2d12s. But yeah, that makes me happy to hear, because that was, I would say, the primary goal of season 1 really was like, let's make this so that people can learn how to play and maybe pick it up for themselves. And
I'll probably edit that closer to the beginning of the podcast, because like something I meant to say earlier.
Oh, I love that.
And when we were talking about collaboration, I wanted to ask you about, I love what you do with, especially with flashback scenes where, you cast the players as NPCs basically. And I wanted to hear a little bit more about like that and how it came about and how it goes generally.
Oh my gosh, big swings. I am so thankful I have the players I do have for that reason, because me and Rowan have done improv before, not like seriously, but we'll go to improv jams in the area. And when I would GM D&D, I loved a good cutscene. It's they say not to do it. Don't do it as GM. Like, don't do a cutscene, because then the players can't interact. And I fully understand and I get that. And it's a vice that I hold with myself and continue to do, where sometimes I just want the players to have a vision or a dream so that I can introduce curious things that will happen in the future. And for Daggerheart, because it's so collaborative and because there's something about, I don't know, kind of stretching myself as GM and like really presenting a challenge for me that I wanted to do, it was like, okay, I'm going to do a flashback and I'm going to let them create characters that we'll see in the future, which they picked up on and made life a little hard for me in the future. But still, like, I want them to create characters that they can see in the world so that they have a little bit of say in it. And then I want to ask them leading questions to like get them to introduce details that I will use in the future, which admittedly in a game based on Five Banners Burning, which is very political intrigue, which suggests secrets and plots and ploys, it is a little insane on my part to think that, oh, I know, I'll let them say what some of the secrets and plots and ploys are, and then I'll somehow make it work. But really a part of that really is like, in general, that sort of letting the players take a big swing and then me having to react and justify it is exhilarating. It's my favorite. I tell people the bigger the swing, the more excited I get, because it forces me to think like, how does that work? How can I put that in there? And so like season 1, that kind of exact thing happened, where describe these 3 characters. What are they like? What are their weapons? Maybe what are their fighting styles? Like, tell me a little bit about them. And then there's a moment in season 2 where I have them go into basically a boardroom with another country, and I have them say, yeah, so how'd that secret mission you went on go? And like, just kind of have them say like, what's going on behind the scenes? And will it work? I don't know. We haven't gotten to the point where it pays off yet, but I do think that is a good meshing between, it's not a cutscene where the players don't have say and interaction, but it's also not like a full-blown, how do I put this? There was a word that I had. It's not coming out of nowhere either. It's like a good meshing to let them be in the scene and establish characters, because players love making stuff. I feel when it's like I feel like it's at the heart of when people talk about, oh, the players adopted a random little goblin. And I think it's because like you prepared the knight that's right next to it with a big sword, and you're like, this guy has a tragic backstory. And then the little goblin next to him, they're like, what's this guy? And then them asking the questions, it's sort of building that. And so I feel like they have ownership on that, which is why they want to take the little goblin with them, because like, this is my little guy. And so highly recommend just try, let them make your enemies in your plot sometimes and just see where it goes. Because I'm always surprised.
Yeah.
As much as I'd love to think I've done this long enough that I can predict what people will do, It's an honest, earnest surprise I feel every time when they throw things. And I'm like, oh, I was expecting that. What do I do with that? Where do I go? Branching paths. What would make sense? What's best? So that's really where it comes from. It's just a desire to make a tendency of mine fit Daggerheart a little more.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's, I think, the long answer of that. So
speaking of long answers, that was not quite half of my conversation with Isaac, so we're going to pause things here and bring you the rest of our chat on the next episode of Duality Bites. Meanwhile, you can tune into Dodoborn right as Season 2 reaches its climax by going to www.dodoborn.com. And remember, that's Dodoborn with an E on the end. You can also find the Dodos on Blue Sky at dodoborn.com, on YouTube at DodobornPod, and at all of the usual podcast places. And in your own heart, whenever you are brave. Thank you for listening to Duality Bites, a production of Hagdeal Gaming. If you like what we're doing here, come say hi on Blue Sky or TikTok at Hagdeal Gaming. Leave us a review. We'd love to know what you think. And remember, as a wise person once said,
I am haunted forever.
Yeah.